I'm so sorry. I'm going to sing again. It's not pleasant for you and it's not pleasant for me, but I've gone down this rabbit hole. I've got to kind of carry on until I reach the other side. It's Terry's birthday today. Hi Terry. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Terry. I hope everyone leaves you lots of lovely birthday wishes down in the comments. And also today is the lovely Erin of The Knitting Life, whose YouTube channel I mentioned a few days ago. Her and her husband Larry are celebrating their 11th anniversary today. So happy anniversary to Erin and Larry too. Managed to get through that birthday song without too many duff notes, I think. I don't know, I'm tone deaf. Welcome to Vlogtober Day 17. My name's Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. So today's community shout out goes to the lovely Lisa, who is the Soulful Spinner here on YouTube. I'm sure many of you will already know Lisa because she has an amazing channel, mostly concentrated on her spinning adventures. She works a lot with fleece, from raw fleece and processing that fleece, and her spinning is just really inspiring. And she has, yeah, just such a lovely channel. She's trying to post a monthly video at the moment. So yeah, lots of lovely inspiration, lots of chats about breed specific fleeces and fibres. So please do go and check out Lisa if you don't already follow her channel. If you do go and watch one of her videos and you haven't been over to her channel before, then just let her know that I sent you over. And if you like what you see, then please subscribe to Lisa's channel and let's show Lisa some Yarn on Yarns community love. I feel all flustered today. I'm sorry about yesterday's minimal Vlogtober effort. I had a migraine yesterday and it was a really weird one. It was making me feel really dizzy and off balance. So I pretty much had to take the day off work yesterday and wasn't really functioning, so I kind of cheated and just put up some footage that I recorded a week or two ago now, down on the beach, and sort of no extras around that. So I'm sorry about that, but that was just all I was capable of yesterday. It does also mean that today, because I wasn't able to work yesterday, I'm kind of been on the back foot work-wise, so it's now catching up to 6 PM and I've not long finished my work day and I haven't recorded anything for today's Vlogtober, so I thought I best get on it and try and get this recorded, edited and uploaded before day 18 is upon us. I'm going to answer another one of your questions today. I hope you don't mind. As I say, I've just been a little bit on the back foot after my day yesterday, but I do have quite a nice topic to chat to you about. The lovely Beverly asked whether I would share any books that I found helpful in my creative life. I've just raided my bookshelves and picked out a few books that I really enjoy. Knitting, spinning, crochet, kind of techniques, but also a couple of sort of pattern books and also one sort of generalist book that I want to chat about as well. So yeah, hopefully you will find this interesting and maybe find a book or two that you might find helpful. I'll start with crochet, and I do have two books to mention, but I can't find my copy of one of them. So I'll chat about the one that I do have in front of me, and then I'll pop a picture of the other one up on the screen. It may be that I've lent it to someone, or it may just be lurking in another room somewhere rather than on my bookshelf. So the first one is 200 Blocks for Blankets, Throws and Afghans by Jan Eaton, and I really enjoyed this book. I think this is quite a few years old now, but it's just basically a book that has a whole bunch of different types of crochet patterns and squares inside and how you make those. There were also some suggestions in the front of the books for mixing and matching some of the designs in the book, and I just find it, if I'm stuck for a crochet idea, it's just really nice to flick through this and just find a block that I'm interested in playing around with. And I've ended up with blankets and cushions that I've made inspired by the different block patterns in this book. All squares, but there's some that kind of start in the middle, granny square style, but there's also some backwards and forwards techniques as well. And yeah, there's just loads of inspiration, and each block, I try not to show any sort of directions because obviously it's a book. So the block shows you how many colours you need for the block, but down the bottom there's usually a suggestion for other blocks that mix and match well with each design. So I find that quite a useful feature as well if you fancied making a blanket, for instance, but you don't want to crochet the same pattern over and over again. There's kind of handy suggestions for things that might go together. So yeah, I really enjoy this book, 200 Crochet Blocks by Jan Eaton. The other favourite crochet book is, I think it's just called Crochet Borders. Might be Crochet Borders and Techniques, but I'll put a picture of the book cover up on the screen. And again, one really handy in the past when I've been kind of making up blankets on the fly, or I used to kind of have my copy as a reference copy in the shop for my customers when they had made blankets or cushions and were looking for something just to finish off their project. And there's loads of different types of borders and inspiration in this book. So yeah, they're both kind of referencey books rather than pattern books, but I enjoy both of those for crochet. For knitting, I thought I'd share with you the first book that really helped me get into sock knitting, and it's Sock Anatomy by Claire Devine. The second pair of socks that I ever knit, my first pair was a bit of a disaster. I've told this story before, and I've showed off my socks before as well, and I tried a copy of a pattern from Pom Pom, and there's nothing wrong with the pattern, it was just my knowledge of sock anatomy was non-existent. So I kind of struggled through that pattern and made a kind of sock. I learned a lot from it, but there's a really good basic sock pattern in here called Flexel, and this was the second sock that I made, and I made it in the colours that were suggested in this. This is all West Yorkshire spinners yarn in this book from Claire Devine, and yeah, I just really found working through that sort of basic vanilla sock really handy, and then there are other sock patterns in here that sort of progress in difficulty. Yeah, the Claire Devine Sock Anatomy was what really got me into sock knitting. For spinning, I have got two books. The first spinning book that I bought is Respect the Spindle by Abby Frank Lamont, and as the title suggests, this is all about drop spinning, and Abby is very well known for her amazing knowledge about spinning and spindle spinning, and this book is just a wealth of knowledge about different types of spindles and how you spin on them, different techniques, different plying techniques, what spindles are good for spinning particular types of fibre and yarns. There's a spindle selection matrix in here which is really fun, which basically you kind of, it lists out some types of yarns that you might be aiming for, and then it sort of takes you across what type of spindle you might need to have and what type of spinning technique and plying technique you might need to use to achieve that particular type of yarn. So if you're looking to get into spindle spinning and you want a really lovely resource, then Respect the Spindle without a doubt. The other spinning book that I really love is Yarnitecture by Gillian Moreno. This one is more centred around spinning on a wheel, although I think you could definitely use the sort of suggestions and ideas in here to translate into spindle spinning if you wanted to. This book has sort of tips, tricks, techniques, some pattern designs that kind of are designed to show off and highlight hand spun yarn, so that's a really nice feature of this book too. But I'll give you a flash of one of the pages just to kind of give you a flavour of the type of things that you'll find in this book. So there's a page here where they've taken one braid of fibre and spun it in different ways to kind of achieve 5 very different looking knitted swatches. So again, this is kind of helping you to, well, it says on the front really, a knitter's guide to spinning, building exactly the yarn you want. I quite often just spin for fun, as in I don't have an aim for my hand spun yarn. I just spin the fibre and then I find a project. But if you're looking to move towards spinning for particular projects and getting particular results from your spinning and your yarns, then yeah, again, I can highly recommend Yarn Texture. And before I wrap up, I also have 2 other books to share with you. One is kind of my favourite pattern collection. I saw this on the shelf and I knew that I wanted to just quickly chat about this. And I love this book by Carrie Westerman, This Thing of Paper. And this was a book inspired by Carrie's lifelong love of books and manuscripts, and all of the designs in here are inspired by books, This Thing of Paper. So there are patterns in here for cowls, for shawls, for hats, for garments, and yeah, I just really love this book and the collection of patterns. It's not really a technique book, it is just a book of designs, but boy, are there some beautiful ones in there. One other book, which may be my favourite of my books on my craft shelf, and this was a very kind gift from the lovely Chris. So hi Chris, if you were out there watching. Last year when I was having a particularly tough time, Chris sent me this book called Making Winter by Emma Mitchell, a creative guide for surviving the winter months. And this book is just beautiful. As I say, it's fast become my favourite. It's got some crochet patterns in, there are some recipes, there are all sorts of kind of creative ideas for drawing, for sketching, for using some of the things that we find around us in winter to kind of create, I guess, that cosy warm feeling that we all try and strive for in the winter. The back cover kind of gives you a flavour of some of the things that you'll find in this book, and I refer to this book all year round now. There's a couple of really lovely recipes, and it's just full of beautiful photos. I think it might have been Angela who commented under one of my videos to say that sometimes when you don't have the mojo to actually create physically, it's kind of nice to grab a book and do some dream making, and I feel like this book definitely fits that bill for me. It's one that if I am feeling a bit low, I need a pick me up and I don't have the energy for any actual physical making, I love to reach for this one and just flick through, enjoy the photography and be inspired. I would like to give a quick mention, when I was answering the question about dyeing, I think it was Susan who asked about dyeing resources, and I said I did have a dyeing book in my stash, but I hadn't really used it, and a couple of people commented to say this is the book that they found super useful, so I'm really glad that it's the one that I have in my little book stash. Colours from Nature, a dyer's handbook by Jenny Dean, and I've not used this or really referred to it, but if you're looking for a recommendation from several of the Yarn and Yarns community for books on dyeing, then this might be one to seek out. So yeah, thought that I'd add that in as a quick extra. And I also want to give a little mention to this book that I'm currently reading, although I'm taking it pretty slow and just reading a chapter every now and then. And this is a book by Esther Rutter called This Golden Fleece, A Journey Through Britain's Knitted History. And my local independent bookshop hosted a Zoom chat with Esther Rutter earlier on this summer. I'm very lucky to have a really good independent bookshop here in Penarth, and I was able to nab a copy of this. It's got a signed plate inside from Esther, and basically it's just a delight of different chapters following a year in Esther's life where she researches knitting around Britain. And there were all sorts of really fun anecdotes. Esther herself, as she was doing research, sort of knitted various projects inspired by areas in Britain that she was researching at the time. So yeah, this is just a really lovely read. I've only read a couple of chapters, but it's definitely one that you can sort of pick up and put down and come back to. I've marked out actually a few quotes and passages, and maybe at some point I might take another look at this once I've read a few more chapters and share with you some of my favourite quotes. If you'd be interested, let me know. So yeah, that was just a little peek at some of the books that I love and some of the books that I found really helpful. I've got many more, and if I had a little bit more time, then my list might have been a little bit more thought out and a little bit more comprehensive. I would love to know if you have any favourite crafty publications. Let me know in the comments below. Yes, that's my offering today. Quickly losing the light, it looks much lighter on the camera than it actually is here. So I think I need to wrap up here, and I will try and prioritise my vlogging a little bit over the next couple of days, because the last couple have been a little bit abysmal, haven't they? But hey, when you're trying to put up a video every day, not every day is going to be a good one. Until we get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. I would like to shout out the lovely Lisa, who is the Soulful Spinner. I'm sure if you are a spinner, you may already know Lisa's channel. She's got quite a... Spotted a moth in my yarn room. I'll be back. Got the little pest. Got a vlogging injury. I just jumped up to try and catch a shot of the last light of the day, and I managed to scratch myself in my haste reaching up to open the roof window. Not safe to be left on my own.